Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Before we get going, my sponsor Link2, as you know, they've just launched a streamlined onboarding process that takes a few minutes. It gives all investors instant access to invest on the platform. You can visit Link2, linqto.com, or download the app now. And this is for U.S. residents, so go check it out. Okay. All right, folks, I wanted to, I think censorship is what we've seen over the last 5 years. Censorship is the most dangerous thing that's happening to our country. I just wanted to show you this because at one point before Elon Musk, this was censored. If you remember this clip from ETHgate.
Where Bill has come out and said Ethereum's not currently. And here's the right way to say it. It's not about the token. The token is never a security. None of these tokens are ever securities. But don't think that gets you anywhere because it's really the transaction that matters. And so the way, if you read Bill's speech, it carefully goes through and very carefully says the offer and sale of the token, of Bitcoin and of Ether today does not constitute the offer and sale of a security.
Okay, you don't have to watch the whole thing, but my point is that this is one of the things that I've seen censored over the last 5 years. What kind of country are we going to have if the truth and trying to hold accountable people that aren't doing the right things in the United States when that is suppressed and censored? The next step is going to be, and I summarized it in a tweet. I'll just get to that. But we'll get to the censorship thing because there's a lot going on. First, I want to show you this. Russia to start using cryptocurrency for international transactions from September 1st to bypass Western sanctions, all while Gary Gensler has held up the U.S. industry. China and Russia have been doing great. Now, this was something that could not go unanswered this morning. This guy said, Corey Bates says, you can arrest the founder of Ethereum. You can arrest the leader of Cardano. You can arrest the CEO of XRP, which doesn't even make sense. Go on and on down the line. It's the same, but no matter how you try, you can't arrest the creator of Bitcoin. He's gone, walked away. This was his gift to humanity. That's the whole point. Well, my question to him is, how do you know he's gone? How do you know it's a gift to humanity? How do you know he walked away and is not coming back? Because I know otherwise, so I corrected him. You can arrest the 4 Satoshis, the 4 creators of Bitcoin. Your government has just lied to you about knowing the identity of them. And I gave him the Homeland Security video where they said they met with them, the 4 Satoshis. I can't believe, I even put out a Fantasy Island tweet for him. Said Bitcoin was a gift to the world. Don't question who Satoshi is and who owns all that Bitcoin. Just assume Jesus came down and gave it to you to save the world. You can't be much more naive than this. I mean, it's true, folks. You can't be much more naive than this. And look, what I'm hoping is that after the government in conjunction with some people created it, I'm hoping that their plan is to let Bitcoin live and thrive and all that as like a hedge to the changeover of the financial system. I own 1.5 to 2 Bitcoin for that reason, okay? But let's not sit here and pretend. I mean, that's like childish stuff. To pretend like, oh, yeah, this thing, he just created some nice guy, and now he's got the address that holds the most Bitcoin of anybody that owns any Bitcoin, and he's just going to let it sit there, and that's that. That's pretty childish mentality. Speaking of children,
how high the inflation can get, what's going to happen, how much civil unrest. I mean, what we could see is I've been on record saying I think Bitcoin's going to 250,000 to 1 million. Long before Trump or any of these rumors or whatever else, it's solely predicated on we're likely to see the greatest asset bull market in the history of bull markets.
I think he's right about that. I think if they allow Bitcoin to live, I think it can go to 1 million, even beyond. I just don't know whether to trust if they're going to let it live. That's always been my issue. Research finds crypto owners are psychopaths. We're all a bunch of wild and crazy psychopaths out here. I didn't know it. It's fine with me. Do you remember that time that they told you that this party in power right now, for the purposes of this election year, that they were going to have a crypto reset? Remember when Mark Cuban said that? Well, it turns out the SEC has hit another crypto platform, Abra, for offering unregistered securities. Crypto reset, they said. Right, Mark Cuban? They're full of crap. These people lie for a living. Why would they stop lying now? PayPal's PYUSD stablecoin now saw a rapid growth to hit $1 billion since its expansion to Solana, largely thanks to double-digit DeFi reward programs. Remember, real USD is coming. Now, this clip from RFK Jr. is hugely important that you listen to this, because we're not talking about Republicans and Democrats anymore. That's not what this is, folks. The Republican Party is not what it was when I was growing up. The Democrat Party is not what it was. I think the Democrat Party has been taken over by a bunch of communists. And I think there's a lot of good people that are Democrats. I know a lot of them. And I think most of them have become like RFK.
You cannot have a democracy.
Like RFK Jr., they realize their party has been taken over by radical communists, okay? But this is the most serious thing right here.
You cannot have a democracy. They're absolutely incompatible. And everybody knew that. Everybody, you and I were raised reading Orwell and Aldous Huxley and Robert Heinlein and Alexander Solzhenitsyn and all of these other books that were part of classical literature that was taught in every American classroom. It said the first step to totalitarianism is always, because with censorship, it's the first step down that slippery slope. And there's no time that we look back in history and say the people who were censoring speech were the good guys. They're always the bad guys, because we know that they're the guys who are going to end up cracking the whip on us all and being our overlords.
Yeah, and wait until they're not. If you leave them in power, what they're going to do is they're going to incorporate. They're going to take the censorship to the next level, which is what they want, which is to create these social credit system, and then once they've got us all on these CBDCs and crypto, then they're going to say, hey, well, we don't want you spending money on guns or ammo. If you're going to use it for that, we're going to just turn it off. We don't want you to use it for this or that. You're a little too overweight. We don't want you going and buying ice cream. That's where this kind of stuff is leading if we don't stop the censors now. And the people censoring and that have been censoring are the people currently in power. They have got to go.
And then, the whole thing about, like, you and I have talked about that clip of Tim Walz, Governor Walz, saying that government should be the ultimate arbiter of what is protected speech and what is not. He said if something that the First Amendment does not protect, misinformation and disinformation, but it does. The First Amendment was written to protect not only true speech but false speech, and speech that it wasn't there and it's unnecessary, to protect the kind of speech that everybody wants to hear. It's there to protect the kind of speech that nobody wants to hear.
Right, and especially speech that is critical of the people in charge.
Exactly.
And so in their current formulation, misinformation is defined as any speech that criticizes the job that they're doing. So with that in mind, you see the Biden administration encouraging France, Macron, to arrest the owner and founder of Telegram, Pavel Durov, who's now, as of right now, in a French prison. That seems like, that's the hallmark of dictatorship, it sounds to me.
Yeah, well, we've lost Europe.
We've lost Europe. Now, I wanted to show you that against this backdrop. Mark Zuckerberg just admitted Biden-Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor Americans. Facebook complied. They throttled the Hunter Biden laptop story. They lied to Americans in order to help Biden win an election. Okay? Think about that for a minute. They intentionally lied to Americans. This is all this is treason, folks. Let's call it what it is. It's treason. Metal Lawman knows what's up. Time for the Facebook files. Imagine what files they have over at Facebook. When he took over, Elon Musk provided access to Twitter's archives to journalists to reveal censorship activities of the previous regime. But Facebook's censorship activities have been kept largely hidden from the users and the public until now. Last week, a federal judge ruled that the government had been colluding with social media platforms to censor speech protected under the First Amendment. And so anyway, apparently they are going to be having to release some of this stuff. Ryan Selkis is over the target. Zuck should be scared. All of the traders should be. This isn't a moment to celebrate. It's a moment to tighten the noose. The republic, not democracy, hangs in the balance. And then Peter Schiff says, not only does Zuckerberg's admission prove that the Biden administration illegally censored free speech, but it also shows that they interfered with the 2020 election. This proves Trump was right about the 2020 election, that the 2020 election was stolen. But for this interference, Trump likely would have won. Folks, the writing's on the wall. But here's the problem. You can see that the bad guys they're losing everywhere. Watching RFK, one of the most established Democrats in the world, his family was pure Democrat Party. And watching him, don't underestimate how huge it is that guy jumped from his party and endorsed Donald Trump. Don't underestimate that, but also don't underestimate how dangerous that makes the times that we're in how dangerous it makes these times. I'm going to summarize what I'm going to talk about because there are so many surreal things going on right now. But we're going to go in DAIXRP.com and I'm going to talk. I'll just summarize it this way. Expect the worst. The next 2 months, expect the worst. And it is scary times we're in. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.